Hi there, Facebook world. Todd Gutner here. This is a storm center morning, and it's for wintry precipitation this time. We actually had a storm center back in October, but that was for wind and for rain. We have team coverage for you. We've got Ryan Breton. He's in Stormy, checking on road conditions in southern and western Maine. And Chloe Thibault's in Bangor, and she's checking on the conditions up there for us too. So we'll be with them in a second. But I'm outside on the weather deck in downtown Portland, and I want to give you a good illustration of what's happening. First of all, cars coming up High Street, totally fine. I think, for one, crews did go out last night in a lot of these municipalities and threw some salt down and some sand down. So that obviously helped. But also, I think a bigger player here is that the pavement, which is basically an extension of the soil and dirt beneath it, it hasn't frozen solidly yet. So there's still a little melting going on. But everywhere else, like this deck, for instance, which is completely suspended in the air, which is sub-freezing, has this little glaze of ice on it. And I can do this, just glide right around. I mean, I could use skates on here. Or I could do like the Axl Rose dance. I'll try to do my best Axl Rose dance, like, need a little patience, yeah. I've been walking the streets at night. I could keep going, but I won't. So yeah, you need to be careful. Your first step out the door this morning is going to be probably the most difficult one if you don't throw a little sand or salt down for some traction. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is that we still have some moisture and some precipitation to get through. And we're going to get a little burst coming up here during the midday hours. And my thought is that the air above us, the whole entire column, will actually get cold enough to flip things from this freezing mist and drizzle back to some snow. And we could actually get an additional coating. And that could grease things up a little bit. There's a chance that some of the flakes get kind of nice and fat too as they move on through. You can see the temperatures there, all below the freezing mark. So, we've got problems up and down the beaches too, down in York County, with some light icing. Behind this system, later on tonight, we're going to clear out. And if you think it's cold now, oh my gosh, it's going to feel 100 times worse tomorrow. Even with bright sunshine, our high tomorrow will be about 28. Wind chills will be in the single digits and teens all day long. And we're going to make a run at some records. Record low temperatures in the morning and record cold high temperatures in the afternoon. Tomorrow and again on Thursday. 2 days of it. All right, so that gives you a good illustration of what's happening. Again, watch where you're walking, especially if you're going out on a deck or out on the front stairs, things like that, because it's super slippery. All right, let's check in with Ryan Breton. He's in Stormy now. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Todd. All I have to say is I've worked with you for about 2.5 years. I've probably 5 or 6. I don't think I've ever heard you sing, and I'm not sure I ever want to hear it again. But at least skating.
Oh, man.
Yeah, all right. Well, it is an icy morning. At least this isn't a big storm, and we can have a little fun with it. But it's not so fun if you're out on the roads. I want to show you this. We're on 26. We drove out of Lewiston and Auburn, went by the Auburn airport, and went through Poland. By the entrance to Poland Spring, and then we got on 26 in Gray. And you can see just in the shoulders here, there's some slushy, icy snow, and it's not really slush, it's frozen up because the temperature here right now is 28. And you see some drops on our windshield. That's not a good thing because any of those liquid drops can refreeze as they hit the ground. And that's going to continue to be a problem really for the next couple of hours. Just driving around, some of the side roads that have not been touched are definitely in tough shape. I mean, they've got this layer of snow and crusty ice on top in Lewiston and Auburn and Poland and now here in Gray where we are right now. But the major roads that have been treated are in good shape. It's just a good idea to keep your speeds down. And one other thing to consider is to watch the bridges and the overpasses. About 5:15 this morning, we were actually in Gray headed north, getting on the turnpike, and we slid around on one of the bridges earlier this morning. Those always freeze first in these situations because the cold kind of hangs out underneath them, and it freezes from both directions, above and below. So, it's not the worst storm in the world, but it is a little deceiving because it's not raining or snowing hard in most places, but it is enough to cause really, really slippery conditions, and that's what we've seen all morning long. So that is the story from Gray. I'm not sure if I'm sending this up to Chloe or if I'm going down to Todd, but either way, all right, we're gonna go to Bangor. We're gonna send it up to Chloe in Bangor. And Chloe, you had a little bit more snow than we did, I think, this morning. Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Ryan. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Just to start off, I'm going to be a little bit nicer than you were to Todd. I appreciated the singing. It's cold up here this morning, needs something to keep us energetic and awake. So another fun fact, up here yesterday in Bangor, the National Weather Service in Caribou said this was our city's first official inch of snow this year. That usually happens on November 24th, so we're already moving into winter pretty fast. But really the main problem for yesterday's storm was ice, and that's what officials are telling commuters to really keep an eye on this morning. Bangor crews started cleaning up this morning starting at 7 p.m. last night. So clearly icing on roadways was an issue. And they're telling people, make sure you're budgeting extra time this morning, extra space between you and other cars. Keep it slow and keep an eye on traffic and other people around you just to stay safe. And while it's important to keep your own safety in mind this morning, you should also be keeping an eye out for other people around you, like we mentioned. We spoke to Nick Bouchard last night, who's with Bouchard Sons and Towing in Bangor, and he has some tips for drivers this morning. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Any emergency vehicle, firefighters, paramedics, tow truck drivers, or even somebody that stopped to help somebody. If you see someone on the side of the road, move over. I mean, if it was your family out there or kids, anybody, I mean, you don't want to be hit. So definitely pay attention to people on the side of the road.
So just remember that here in Maine, it's state law to slow down and move over for people. A couple of other tips, check your tire pressure this morning. The low temperatures can actually make that pressure decrease. Keep your windshield wipers up to date. And if you don't have to drive home, just stay home then. Stay warm. If you do get stranded, make sure you pack some bottled water, snacks, flashlight, extra battery, phone chargers, just to be sure you're staying as safe as possible. There are obviously people out on the roads today. They're pretty busy, so just keep those tips in mind, and then hopefully your commutes will go smoothly. In Bangor, Chloe Thibault, News Center, Maine.